Lakhan Thapa Magar was a Nepali revolutionary and the first martyr of Nepal. He was named Lakshman Singh Thapa at birth. Lakshman Singh Thapa was born as a younger one between the twin brothers, and his brother's name was Ram Singh Thapa. Of the two brothers, Ram and Lakshman, Lakshman Thapa is later called Lakhan Thapa. Lakhan Thapa was born in 1835 AD in Kahole village located at Bunkot, Gorkha. Now, the very place is named after Lakhan Thapa's name as Sahid Lakhan Rural Municipality. Lakhan Thapa completed his formal education in Almora, India. After completing his study, Lakhan Thapa returned to Nepal in 1854 AD and joined Old Gorkha Paltan. This satisfaction with British rule in India began in the 1850s. Meanwhile, the freedom struggle started in the name of Sipahi Rebellion in India. After the revolt in favor of Indian independence escalated, the Indo-British government wrote a letter to the Prime Minister of Nepal, Janga Bahadur Rana, seeking military assistance. Lakhan Thapa had gone to Lucknow along with Prime Minister Janga Bahadur Rana and 9,000 members of the old Gorkha Paltan after the Indo-British government sought military assistance. Lakhan Thapa was a part of Nepali soldier who assisted the British army to brutally suppress Indian rebels who were fighting for the independence of India. This was around 1857 and 1858 AD. Lakhan Thapa witnesses the inhuman treatment given out to the rebels by the British government to suppress and eradicate the Indian military insurgency. At that time, Lakhan Thapa also had contacts with the Indian rebels. After contacting the Indian rebels, Lakhan Thapa must have adapted his political thinking and program accordingly. He must have been very much influenced by the independence movement in India at that time. Lakhan Thapa, who was in contact with the rebels, also got a good idea of the political situation of his own country. Lakhan Thapa was extremely dissatisfied, distracted, and shocked by the brutal killing, looting, oppression, and atrocities committed by Janga Bahadur Rana to appease the British by becoming a staunch supporter of colonialism. The hard struggle and martyrdom of the people in the name of Indian independence awakened Lakhan Thapa a sense of patriotism and determination to fight against the dictatorial regime of Janga Bahadur. Also, the first written law of Nepal was enacted on 6 January 1854 AD by Janga Bahadur Rana, which leads to spread casteism, untouchability, and superstition in Nepali society even more. All of these incidents led Lakhan Thapa Magar and other revolutionaries to fight against the tyrannical rule of Janga Bahadur Rana in Nepal. By 1868 and 1869 AD, Lakhan Thapa had already been promoted as the captain of Nepali army. However, Lakhan Thapa left his job along with his friend Jai Singh Chumi Magar in order to unite the people against the rule of Janga Bahadur Rana. After the Rana takeover, Lakhan Thapa Magar could not tolerate the iron-fisted rule of the dynasty. Lakhan Thapa organized some youths, mainly some ex-military, to begin to protest against the government. Along with men, Lakhan Thapa brought weapons and supplies to rebel against the government. With the help of the local people of his birthplace, Lakhan Thapa built a strong fort there. A strong fort was built surrounded by stones. A symbolic temple of goddess Manakamana was established in the fort premises. The local people of that time had a deep faith and religious belief in goddess Manakamana. Lakhan Thapa started appealing that he had received a divine gift from the goddess and was ready to remove Jange or Janga Bahadur Rana. Lakhan Thapa considered himself an incarnation of Siddha Lakhan Thapa, who was born 150 years before him and preached accordingly. Similarly, Lakhan Thapa used to tell villagers that goddess Manakamana had commanded him to assassinate Janga Bahadur Rana and rule in his place. Due to the propaganda of incarnation of Siddha Lakhan Thapa and the propaganda that he was commanded by goddess Manakamana Devi, Lakhan Thapa gained ample followers and public support against Janga Bahadur Rana. Lakhan Thapa used to unite the people who came to the temple for worship and inform them about the brutal rule of Janga Bahadur and his anti-people activities and provide political consciousness. Lakhan Thapa had gathered 1,500 people along with weapons and supplies to attack the Rana government. Arrangements were made for the army to play parade, shoot arrow, conduct various trainings, and provide food, shelter, etc. The rebel army was fully prepared to carry out the people's uprising by providing the necessary logistics. It took him more than 6 months to prepare such army. Lakhan Thapa wanted to end the rule of Janga Bahadur Rana and to establish democracy in the country. He and his associates and supporters roamed the villages and settlements of Gorkha. Janga Bahadur Rana, who had become a pimp of the British, was exposed by Lakhan Thapa and gathered the masses and gave speeches against Janga Bahadur Rana. Thus, for the first time, a people's movement or people's revolt was started against Janga Bahadur Rana under the leadership of Lakhan Thapa Maga. Till 1871 AD, the local people began to consider the influential leader Lakhan Thapa as their king or something like that. At that time, Sarvajit Thapa used to sit in People Talk and look after the Gorkha issue. Sarvajit Thapa complained to Janga Bahadur that an armed people's revolt led by Lakhan Thapa was being prepared against the rule of Janga Bahadur in Bunkot, Gorkha. Janga Bahadur Rana got the information of the revolution led by Lakhan Thapa. Janga Bahadur Rana ordered his younger brother Dir Samser to arrest Lakhan Thapa and his associates and bring them to Kathmandu. The Rana government responded by deploying troops to Gorkha. Subsequently, Lakhan Thapa and his associates were arrested from Bunkot and brought to Kathmandu. They were tortured all along their way. A case was filed against them at Thapatali court. They were pressured to sign an apology letter, whipped mercilessly. Lakhan Thapa and his friends did not beg a pardon in front of the Rana government. Lakhan Thapa was accused of treason for organizing anti-Rana activities by providing political consciousness to the people against the Rana regime. Of the 12 arrested, 7, including Lakhan Thapa, were sentenced to death and the remaining 5 were sent home for lack of active participation in the incident. It was decided that Lakhan Thapa and his associates would be hanged from the tree in front of Manakamana temple of their fort premises in the presence of local people at Bunkot, Gorkha, as to make an example out of them. At first, the leader, Lakhan Thapa, was hanged from the tree in front of Manakamana temple inside his fort on February 11, 1877 AD. It is also said that his skin was cut off and hanged, and after him, all other rebels were hanged. Along with Lakhan Thapa, Jaising Chumni Magar, Biras Thapa Magar, Jutia Thapa Magar, Jitman Gurung, and Ajab Singh Thapa Magar were among those who were sentenced to death. One person's name is still unknown. Lakhan Thapa's house and temple were demolished and destroyed. Before Lakhan Thapa was sentenced to death, Lakhan Thapa famously predicted that Janga Bahadur Rana would die within a week of his death. Coincidentally, Janga Bahadur Rana died 2 weeks later. When the Rana government hanged Lakhan Thapa to death, his family fled from Gorkha. His wife and children went to Darjeeling, India. Lakhan Thapa was the first person to protest against the tyrannical Rana rule. The revolt led by Lakhan Thapa was the first mass revolt against the Rana rule in Nepal. Therefore, the government declared him as the first martyr of Nepal on September 20, 2015. Thank you.